Welcome to Financial Focus, brought to you by GulfCoast Financial Services founder and CEO, John Kuykendall. John and his team of financial, legal, and tax professionals have provided North Florida savers and investors sound, comprehensive financial guidance for over 25 years, helping you to achieve important life and planning goals. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and tune in for more Financial Focus by visiting GulfCoastFinancial.net.
And welcome into the program. This is Financial Focus, brought to you by the best of the best in financial services, as named by the Lake City Reporter and their readers, the team from GulfCoast Financial Services, and founder CEO John Kuykendall here with us, as always, providing the financial guidance and insight to uncomplicate the financial world. And John, we appreciate the time and the guidance. Happy Labor Day weekend to you.
Well, happy Labor Day weekend to you, Peter. This is really a very special time of the year when we celebrate the U.S. workers and their achievements and what they've done. It's a great time, although, it doesn't quite mean as much as it used to a lot of people.
Yeah, indeed. But I would have to say, reflecting on our work capabilities, our work opportunities, our work environment, we have come a long way, and we have to appreciate the fact that in this country, we've got the opportunity to work, and we can change and improve our socioeconomic status as a result of the work that we are doing. We can improve our life and our financial outlook through work, through the opportunities that we have here, unlike maybe anywhere else in the world.
Oh yeah, Peter, we have it so good that, anybody can start out. I know, we started in a gas station. I worked my way through college, and look where we are today. I'm just so blessed and so pleased with the economy and capitalism in the United States. And I hope everyone out there listening is too, and that we appreciate. And this time, certainly when we're shortage, we're talking about workers and having to have more workers. I hope everybody appreciates the people that are actually working out there.
Well, that being said, this weekend and Labor Day, the holiday, is about appreciation of the worker and the work that we do. And for that appreciation of all that hard work, we get one day off of work. John, I would say a larger celebration of all of our hard work is retirement. That is the ultimate celebration of all of our hard work. That's the culmination when we no longer plan on having to work so hard any longer. But in order to make that happen, in order to accomplish that, we really have to have a plan, because the dollars that we have saved, our assets, they have to replace the paycheck. They have to replace us as the primary employee. They become our employees.
That's right, Peter. The money that we've saved up and the plan that we had during our working years, that's what we have to use to retire. And hopefully we've done a good job, and we have an income plan. And we have a plan in place that's going to give us a great lifestyle during that retirement, because it's a celebration of when we quit laboring for work and we labor for retirement.
Yeah, well, it's a labor of love at that point in time. We get to do what we want to do rather than what we have to do. During our working career, we're trading our time for money. In fact, we do a lot of things for money. We go to school, we set an alarm, we put in our sweat equity and our hard work. We may even be willing to uproot and relocate our families for better opportunities. So when we talk about the labor in retirement, that is where we get to enjoy the fruits of the labor and hopefully relax with a confidence in our quality of life. That part of it, though, John, that's where you and your team come in. You help us with the planning to make sure that our dollars are the employees working their hardest so that we can relax and enjoy our time.
Well, that's true, Peter. And we can't not work. We have to continue to work on that plan and work just as hard on that retirement. Retirement's not easy. I mean, people think that I'm going to phase into retirement, but there are just as many loopholes and just as many potholes going into retirement as there are when we're working.
We really need to therefore save. I mean, that really emphasizes the importance of saving and investing and budgeting and living within our means, because, John, retirement can be very long. It can be very expensive. So during our working career, while we're earning the paycheck, that's almost the easy part.
Well, that's true, Peter. We're going to be living in most cases 30 years. I mean, we can't plan on how long we're going to live, but we need to plan for an adequate retirement. And with longevity, which is the biggest risk in retirement, is that we're going to live longer than we've saved up our money for. That's the big thing. And so what we have to do, Peter, is we've talked on this show so many times, and I hope people don't get tired of listening to it, but we need to have that income plan to give us that predictable, sustainable income during our retirement years so that we can do those things that we want to do. We'll be able to enjoy the go-go years, the slow-go years, and then we'll still be able to sit back and watch television under our own environment in the no-go years.
Well, if we have heard that message before and not taken heed and put it into action and formulated that specific written retirement income plan for ourselves, John, maybe we need to hear that message again. So never mind repeating that important message here on the program and really trying to hammer it home for folks. Ladies and gentlemen, you need to have a written retirement income plan in order to make your dollars behave and perform the tasks that you need them to perform throughout retirement. And to get that retirement income plan, that financially focused written plan in place, pick up the phone, give the team from GulfCoast Financial Services, John Kuykendall and his team and partners and associates there, a call, 386-755-9018, 386-755-9018, 386-755-9018. During our working career, our dollars are sort of part-time employees. They only have one job. They show up, they're there to grow. But in retirement, they are full-time employees. We need to do multiple things. We need multiple things done by them. What are some of those things that money does for us or that we need money to do for us in retirement, John?
Well, we need it to grow. That's right, Peter. That's the number one thing, because we can't have our money sleeping while we're trying to enjoy ourselves. So we want our money to work just as hard for us as we work to save it. We want it to be safe. I mean, there's this misconception, I guess the myth, one of the biggest myths in the world, that if I stick my money in the stock market, I'm going to return 10% a year and I don't have to worry about it. It's just going to grow. But, there's a chart in my office, and I'm sure you've got one in your office, that says that if I make 40% of the return of the S&P 500 and don't take any of the downturns, whenever the market's down, I just earn zero. I will actually earn more than if I was 100% invested in the S&P 500.
Over a long period of time, when there's ups and downs in the market, capturing just a portion of the gains but avoiding the losses can give us a pretty good outcome.
That's right. It can work for us so that we don't have to stick all of our eggs in one basket. We need to have diversification. The other thing too is we don't want to be we don't want to tie our money up. So we don't want to make investments that are all of our money for long terms, because we're going to need some of that money to live on. So we want to make sure that we have a growth bucket, an income bucket, a stable bucket, and then a cash liquid bucket. So those are the three buckets that we need. It's going to have to provide income. So that income bucket is really important to us, because as you know, most of us only have Social Security. That's a guaranteed income coming in every month, guaranteed by the government, and so far they haven't backed down on that. But we need to get some other type of predictable, sustainable income to come in from there, so that we don't have to take money out of our growth bucket when that market's down.
Now, the problem is that money is a pretty terrible multitasker. Performing all of those jobs simultaneously is not ideal, because we don't get the best results. Actually, another comparison here, kind of an analogy, John. I coach my son's little league baseball teams, and I have for several years. And on the first day of the season, I always ask the kids to run out to the field and take the position that they would like to play the most. And almost invariably, I get 3 kids on the pitcher's mound. I get 6 kids at first base and 3 kids at second base. And I go out and I say, fantastic. I'm glad that we've got all of these positions covered. But you guys see the rest of the field out here. We're not going to win any games if we don't cover those positions too. and so kind of the same thing with our money. It can't all be doing the same job. It can't all be geared to performing the same task or playing the same position. We've got to have some diversification. And unlike our earning years, unlike when we have the paycheck and all of our money can be a little bit more growth oriented, in retirement, we've got to hit those other jobs, and maybe asset allocation and income allocation take on a different meaning and a little bit more diversification in retirement.
Well, I think so, because when we're looking at asset allocation, we're looking solely at the assets that we're putting our money into and making sure we're diversified there. When we look at income allocation or diversification, we're looking at making sure we have several different pots that we're getting income in, and that we can use it for different things, so that we can turn one income stream on and then later, maybe 10 years later, turn on another one. And so we also want to look at how we're taking our money out of our account, Peter, because, we're going to be paying taxes. Taxes aren't going to be any cheaper in retirement than they were when we were working. I read something the other day that when we started the 401k in 1982, I think it was, taxes on a married couple earning a little over $40,000 a year was something like almost 40%. So at that point in time, people said, we'll set these 401ks up, we'll defer that money, and when you retire, you'll be in a lower income tax bracket because you'll be making less. Well, that isn't the way it is nowadays. Our taxes are going to be increasing. And so we have to be really careful about how we take our money out of our account, because it affects so many different things in retirement. One of the things that we got to remember is that everything we do in retirement could do something else to something else. So we can pay more Social Security taxes, we can pay more Medicare Part B plan, and also our supplements can go up. So we have to be really careful in how we make our income.
And one thing affects the other, kind of a domino effect.
Yeah.
And so as we are planning for income, we need to think those things through. It's not just a matter of take out the amount that you need. No, we've got tax implications, we've got Social Security implications, we've got Medicare implications. We've got to work all of that into our written retirement income plan, John. And so you go through a process of helping people really define that income plan, putting it in writing, understanding all of the different aspects that we need to consider. That is part of the process and the review and the strategy sessions that you go through to design the plan, and then to double check and monitor the plan on an ongoing basis there at GulfCoast Financial Services.
Well, that's right, Peter. With our clients, we like to make sure that everything that they do, we want to make sure that they understand the implications. So when we set up the income plan, we're looking at their budget. We're going to define the sources of income. We're going to look at their income gap and determine how much we need to fill with a permanent income. And then we're going to look at diversification and the best strategy to keep their taxes as low as we can with how we're invested. So those are all things we do. And then if a client comes in and says, hey, I've got to put a new roof on and I need this much money, we're going to sit down and look at the tax implications and figure out where we can get that money without causing them a huge tax burden or creating something. We'll tell them what the problem is, and then it's up to them, it's their money, to make the decision on how we're going to be pulling it out.
John, you talked about a chart that's in your office, and actually before the program, you shared several pretty interesting charts with me. Now, a lot of people's plans for retirement, air quotes here for those just listening to the podcast, but a lot of people's projections for what to expect throughout retirement are based on some assumed rates of return and some assumptions for how much we'll need for income. And what we're finding as we do these written retirement income plans and even look back at relatively recent history is that a lot of the assumptions that these plans are based on are pretty optimistic. And while we'd like to hope for the best, a plan is a little pessimistic. It's plan for the worst and hope for the best. And when we look back at the returns of the market over the past 21 years, it has not stacked up to where a lot of people's projections assumed they would be.
No, I mean, I read somewhere, Peter, where the average investor makes a little over 2%, mainly because they're in and out of the market at the wrong time. But even if we look at the returns of the S&P 500 for 2000 to 2021, we're only at 4.56%, 4.58% return overall on that, just the way that it worked out. So, I mean, you know, we can't predict when we work that plan up. There's two problems with the plan. One is I'm using an over optimistic interest rate. I'm saying the market's going to make 10%, and we're going to be way out of the market. I mean, we're going to be way over in what we're estimating. The other thing is that you got to include inflation, and most people are looking at 2% inflation, but historically, right now, we're at over 5% this year in inflation. You know, I got an email this morning that said gas line, and it was actually a picture of a gas station when back in the 70s when nobody could get gas. And so, you know, we're having that kind of inflation right now that we had back then. And so we've got to include that. Historically, we're over 3%. Make sure you have the right inflation. We have to cover those in that income plan. I want to be cautiously optimistic, but I don't want to overestimate how much we're going to return.
Well, if we look back at the history of the S&P, the most recent 10 years have been fantastic. But if we look at 2000 through 2013, John, that was a period of 13 years where the market had two separate 100% returns. and any time where you say in 10 years the market is going to double its value twice, you'd think that'd be a fantastic period. But in fact, because we also had two different 50% losses, that was 13 years where the market essentially broke even. There was no net return to an investor that just set their money in the S&P and then left it for 13 years, no rate of return. And if we're pulling out income during that time, depending on the market to produce positive returns, we have basically spelled disaster for the outlook for our retirement.
Well, sure. I mean, you got to remember, if you're pulling out 4% a year, you've taken out over 40% during that period of time and haven't gone anywhere. And also on top of that, you know, you've got a tendency to have those emergencies and those other expenses. But, you know, we're going to have bear markets. We've been very fortunate that since 08, 09, that we've come this long with no bear market. We're going to have one. The thing you hope is that you don't have it during your retirement. But we know that every 7 years, historically, we have a bear market. And you know what the average decline during that bear market is? Almost 40%. So if we're pulling money out during a bear market, which could last 3 or 4 years or longer, then it's just going to crash the plan that much quicker. We've got to be prepared for this thing.
So for the base accounts that we are utilizing and depending on to generate income in retirement, John, once we are utilizing those for income, we really cannot be taking as much risk. And in fact, we need to limit losses or even the potential of losses on our income generating dollars. I've heard this term time optimized portfolio. And it coincides with the income allocation concept and discussion that you've had on this program. But if we intend to use money in the near future, it's not money that we should be putting at risk, essentially.
No, that's right. We need to have that money safe. We need to have a predictable income that we know that's coming in every month so that we know the market's down. I can cover my bills and I don't have to take money out of my growth bucket. We don't want to pull money out of the growth bucket in a down market. We want that to be able to grow for us so that it's going to help keep up with inflation. So if I cover my income bucket now, today, then as we go forward, my growth bucket is really my safety net for inflation and my longevity. And so we want to make sure that growth bucket grows, and we can't go up and down with it. It's not like we're, 20 years old and we've got 40 years more to work or 30 more years to work, and I got plenty of time to catch it up. As we get into our 40s and 50s, there isn't that much more time.
Well, I'm there, so I need to start looking at maybe monitoring that and beginning to make those adjustments. Not as far off as it once was. I made a joke last birthday to my wife and my friends that I'm only about 14 years away from never having to deal with steps ever again. I get in one of those 55 plus communities, so I'm looking forward to that.
Oh yeah. Well, Peter, the thing is that I met with a couple yesterday, and they're in their early 30s, and we're sitting down working with them a plan for their retirement. this particular individual, the man doesn't want to work in his job forever. He wants to work a certain period of time and then pull his retirement account out, have it work for him, and then go back and get another job. His wife, who's really all about saving. And it's amazing to see a young couple that old have that much money saved up and have an idea where they want to go. But that's what there's no time limit on this thing. The sooner you start, the better you'll be. That's just the way it works. Yeah. I was amazed.
Well,
I
again,
was so proud of them.
You're helping people formulate those plans wherever they are in their stage in the game, wherever they are in their progress. Never too early, never too late, never too much, never too little. You still have to have a plan and need to get that plan put together. If you've got a current plan, you need to spot check it and make sure that it is a complete plan. A lot of what John and his team do there at GulfCoast Financial Services is help people with the tools that they have and the plan that they have already built and established to make sure that it will carry them through to the next phase and that it is complete and addresses all of the aspects that you will face into the future. If you'd like to get that financially focused written retirement income plan, pick up the phone, give a call, 386-755-9018, 386-755-9018, 386-755-9018. And John, there are a few rules that you believe most plans should include and incorporate, several items that you think are top and key when formulating that retirement and that retirement income plan specifically.
Well, yeah, Peter, we want to make sure, like I said, we want to make sure that we cover taxes. We're going to cover Medicare. We're going to cover Social Security. We're going to look at how much, where our Social Security maximization is. We're going to look at that income gap, and we're going to put all that together, longevity. We're going to put all that together and come up with one income plan that is a living, breathing document, and we want to update it at least every year because things change, and we want to go forward with it.
And missing any of those items in your conversations about money may indicate that your plan is not 100% complete. You could be missing some important factors. So get that checkup, get that review, have that discussion and that strategy session with John and the team there at GulfCoast Financial Services. Make sure you're checking up on the plan, or if you don't have the plan in the first place, that you get a plan put together and in writing to answer the questions of, do I have enough, and when can I retire? What risks will I face? How much am I paying in taxes? How much am I paying in fees? Get a better handle and understanding on your money. All of those are covered in that strategy session. 386-755-9018. That's 386-755-9018. And the reason why, John, it's been 7 years voted best of the best in financial services is that you are helping savers and investors in North Central Florida get those plans put together for a higher elevated sense of confidence and quality of life to celebrate their labor with more time to enjoy it in retirement.
Well, we hope so, Peter, and that's what we're here for, and we want to help. It's our mission, and if anybody out there wants a copy of our book, Financial Focus, we'd be glad to provide you with one. Or if you want an income plan, come see us. We'd love to prepare one for you.
Fantastic book covering a lot of the different risks that you'll face, instructions for what to do to be better prepared for retirement and what we may face in the future. Financial Focus, the book by John Kuykendall. If you'd like a copy of that, pick up the phone, give a call, visit the website, gulfcoastfinancial.net. Or if you would like your specific individual strategy session, review, and financially focused written retirement income plan, 386-755-9018, 386-755-9018. John, always appreciate the time. We understand that, this weekend is about celebrating our work, but ultimately that plan, that's what's going to allow us to celebrate our work the right way in retirement.
Well, that's right, Peter. Without the plan, we can't really have a good retirement. And I'm all about making sure that we have the best retirement that we can have.
Well, we appreciate the time, the guidance, the perspective with John Kuykendall each and every week here on Financial Focus. Give a call, 386-755-9018, 386-755-9018. John, appreciate it. We'll talk to you real soon.
Thank you, Peter.
Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and tune in for more Financial Focus by visiting GulfCoastFinancial.net. The The information presented on this program is provided for informational purposes only, without warranty of accuracy, completeness, or suitability for a particular purpose. This program is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, legal, or tax advice. This information is general in nature and not specific enough to be construed as advice. You should not make any decision based on the information presented on this program without independent consultation with an appropriately licensed professional or competent advisor. Investment in securities or the market involves a potential risk for loss of principal. Trading, therefore, may not be suitable for all listeners. Annuity guarantees are based solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing company. Withdrawals of growth from annuities may be taxable as ordinary income in the year it is taken. Individuals should review contracts for specific details of the product's features and costs. Early withdrawals may subject the owner to penalties, fees, or taxes. John Kuykendall is registered with and securities are offered through Kovac Securities, Inc., member FINRA SIPC, found online at www.kovacsecurities.com. Advisory services are offered through GulfCoast Financial Services, Inc., a registered investment advisor in Florida. GulfCoast Financial Services, Inc. is not affiliated with Kovac Securities, Inc. or Kovac Advisors, Inc. Past performance is not indicative of future results. All investing involves risk. Investment decisions should be based on your own goals, time horizon, and tolerance for risk. Due to various factors, including changing market conditions and/or applicable laws, the content may no longer be reflective of current opinions or positions.